Hello and welcome to Basic Medical Sciences. So in this video, we are going to do medical biology from 2005 to 2010. Right. The reason why I chose like these papers is because like these questions are repeated again and again. Right. I mean, they repeat in the sense that the concept will be the same. They will just change scenarios. Right. You are going to see. So we are mainly going to focus on explanation because I know you know the correct answers in each and every question, like the questions which we are going to do here. But I want to help you understand. I don't want you to claim, but to understand, so that if the question comes again with in a different scenario, you will be able to answer it correctly, right? Okay, so let's go. First question. A journalist's body temperature is sharply increased in the morning 3 weeks after his mission in India. It was accompanied with shivering, bad headache. A few hours later, the temperature increased. Then the attacks began to repeat in a day. Okay, so these symptoms is malaria already, you know it, right? And they told you that the diagnosis was tropical malaria, right? So the question is asking you, what stage of development of Plasmodium is infective for Anopheles mosquito, right? For female Anopheles mosquito, right? So it's not asking about like infection of humans, but infection of what? Of mosquito, right? Because like Plasmodium has different life cycles. Okay, let me show you here. On the right here, you can see the cycle in human, and on the left you can see the cycle in mosquito, right? And in human, like there are two phases. There is hepatic phase and erythrocytic phase, right? Okay, so let's start with the hepatic phase, right? So at first you can see the sporozoids inside the what? Inside the hepatocytes, right? So there are two scenarios. They can lie dormant in the hepatocytes, so we can call it like they undergo hypnosis, so they are called hypnozoids, right? Hypnozoids. Another pathway is they continue to form mature schizoid, right? So mature schizoid will burst. Okay, I'm sorry guys, there is noise. Okay, so the mature schizoid will burst, releasing what? Releasing merozoids. The merozoids will then affect the erythrocytes, right? So this is now the erythrocytic phase, right? So under a microscope, you will see like this plasmodium inside the RBCs, right? So there will be what? Tropnozoids, and then they continue with maturation until they burst, right? So on bursting, they release what? They release these merozoids again, affecting what? Affecting the RBCs again, like so the cycle will continue, right? But they will also release gametes, right? So gametocytes here, gametocytes will be taken by what? By the mosquito. So here I need to highlight two important things. Firstly, you see this bursting. So this bursting of erythrocytes will will happen at the same time as like those fever attacks, right? And gametocytes is the infective form for what? For mosquito. So you can see two kinds of gamete: microgamete, that's the sperm, and the macrogamete, that's the ovum. So they combine to form a zygote, right? So from zygote, here it happens in the mosquito midgut. Here you can see the ookinete, oocyst, and then the cyst will just burst, releasing sporozoids in the salivary gland of the mosquito, right? So sporozoid is the infective form for the humans, and gametocytes is the infective form for the mosquitoes. I hope you understood that. Okay, so here the infective form, okay, so here the answer is gametocytes, right? It's gametocytes. Next question. A 10-year-old child complained of weakness, nausea, irritability, and the helminths. Okay, here the it was supposed to be helminths of white color and 5 to 10 millimeters long were found on the underway, right? So this one is the this is the first keyword on the underway. You need to remember is Enterobius vermicularis, right? This one will be aided by like this method of like collecting the specimen. We scrape like around the perianal folds, right? And we will see also achromic ova or achromic eggs with asymmetrical form, right? Okay, so I said this one is what is Enterobius vermicularis. Okay, so another way what they do is like they can take a tape, a sellotape, and then leave it on the anal region, right? So the Enterobius vermicularis, they come out of the large intestine and then they lay eggs around the perianal region, right? So in the morning you can actually see the white spots on the sellotape. Those will be the eggs. These are achromic ova of the what? Of the Enterobius vermicularis. Next question. Okay. A patient has been brought to the hospital with the complaints of headache, pain in the left hypochondrium. He has been ill for 1.5 weeks. The sudden illness began with the increase of body temperature to 39.9 degrees Celsius. In 3 hours, the temperature decreased and hydropoiesis began. The attacks repeat rhythmically in 48 hours. Okay, so this is malaria already, right? So you can see like this patient had visited an African country. That's the other keyword, African country, and increasing and decreasing of what of body temperature. And you are being told that the doctors are suspecting malaria, right? So after this, like after about 1.5 weeks, here the plasmodium is already in the erythrocytes. These fevers are happening, like as I just told you, like in the period of bursting of erythrocytes, right? So for diagnosis, definitely you need blood examination, right? So blood examination is the answer. Excuse me. Okay, next question. Slime, broad, and protozoa of 30 to 200 microns of length have been revealed in men's feces. The body of the protozoa is covered with cilia and has a correct oval form with a little bit narrowed forward and wide round-shaped neck and back end, round-shaped back end. On the forward end, a mouth is visible. In cytoplasm, there are two nucleuses. Okay, it's two nuclei and short vacuoles. For whom are these described attributes typical? Right. So what are the keywords here? This one is a protozoa, right? There is one protozoa which is cilia. That protozoa is called what? Balantidium coli, right? So you just need to remember. Okay, it look like this. This one is the trophozoite. You can see like micronuclei and macronuclei. You can also see vacuoles here, and around you see the cilia. All right, so this one is the trophozoite, and this one is the cyst with a macronucleus inside and then double layered cyst wall, right? So another scenario, they can, if they want to ask you about Balandidium coli, they can talk about like a farmer or someone who was taking care of pigs or have any kind of contact with feces of pigs, right? So it's another hint again. Okay, so next question. Moving of the daughter chromatid to the pores of the cell is observed in the mitotically dividing cell. In what stage of mitotic cycle is this cell? Right. Okay. If you how to remember like the stages of mitosis in order, you say p-met, like prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase, right? So like the movement of daughter chromatids to the pores, this one will definitely happen during what? During anaphase, right? Okay. I think here I have a diagram, right? So here you have your prophase, late prophase, metaphase, right? On metaphase is very important here. The chromosomes are like there is maximum spiralization, and also they are found on the equatorial region of the cell, right? Here, the spindles will be pulling the daughter chromatids to the different pores in this phase, in anaphase, right? So the answer is anaphase. Okay, the answer is anaphase. Next. A sick man with high temperature and lot of tiny wounds on the body has been admitted to the hospital. Lice have been found in the folds of his clothing. What disease can be suspected in the patient, right? So first thing, the patient has lice. So this one is pediculosis, right? It's pediculosis. But here they are telling you like these symptoms of tiny wounds. These tiny wounds are representing the symptoms of endemic typhus. Right, what is endemic typhus? The lice here, the body lice in this case, they are carrying a specific kind of what? A specific kind of intracellular parasite called rickettsia. And here in this case is rickettsia prowazekii, right? So rickettsia prowazekii is a species of gram-negative obligate intracellular parasitic organisms that are transmitted in the feces of lice. So what happens is that the lice will be moving like on your skin, right? And then there will be irritation. The lice will be leaving feces. So if you scratch, you enable the entrance of what? Of rickettsia prowazekii into your body, right? So the disease is called endemic typhus. Endemic typhus, right? I have this question again like the other way around. Okay, let's see it. Okay, it says a patient with suspicion of endemic typhus, right? This was the answer in the previous question, was admitted to the hospital. Some arachnids and insects have been found in his flat. Okay, which of them may be a carrier of the pathogen of endemic typhus, right? It's lice, right? It's lice. Okay, here is just a picture to remind you this kind of lice. Okay, it's louse. Okay, and the Latin name for this one is Pediculus humanus corporis, because you have three forms. You have Pediculus humanus capitis, which affect mainly it's mainly found in the head, and then this one Pediculus humanus corporis in the body. That's why you find it on the on the seams of the clothes. And also there is another form which affect like the pubis region. It's also known as phthirios. Okay, you will see it later in this presentation. Okay, so here the answer is what? It's lice, right? It's lice. Next question. A businessman came to India from South America. On examination, the physician found that patient was suffering from sleeping sickness. What was the way of invasion? Right. Okay. So, okay, what are the keywords? Sleeping sickness. So, sleeping sickness is caused by tsetse fly, right? Tsetse fly belongs to the Glossina species, right? Glossina is genus, right? So it looked like this, right? So here the correct answer is what? Is as a result of bugs bite. Bugs bite. Mosquito, no. This one will be malaria. And contaminated fruit and vegetables, no, no, no. All these answers are wrong. You know, some answers are very straightforward. Here I'm just trying to help you to remember, because like when you're under pressure in the exam, you might make mistakes, right? So that's why I'm trying to stimulate your visual memories. Substitution of glutamic acid on valine was revealed while examining initial molecular structure. For what inherited pathology is this symptom typical? Right. First thing, you need to know that normally on our hemoglobin, the glutamic acid is what we have, right? This one is hydrophilic, right? If there is a mutation, it will be replaced by what? Valine. Valine is hydrophobic. So this one will cause like extensive folding of the hemoglobin chains, right? So this will distort the shape of the erythrocyte. Okay, let me show you. Okay, here you can see the amino acid sequence, which like this one is the normal chain, right? It is a glutamic acid, so you can see the shape of the erythrocyte is normal, right? This one is like the mutated one. That's why you see the glutamic site. Now you have valine now, so it's hydrophobic. It causes like the RBCs to be shaped like this, like sickles, right? So it's called sickle cells anemia or sickle cell anemia, right? So that's the answer. Next question. A healthy woman has 3 sons affected by color blindness who were born after her 2 marriages, right? So this woman was married 2 times, and with both husbands, the sons have what? Have color blindness. So definitely this woman is a carrier, right? Children of both her husbands are healthy, right? So like the husbands, okay, let's say they got married again to other wives, and then their children are normal, but this woman her children, her boys have color blindness, right? What is the most possible pattern of inheritance, right? So definitely it's X-linked recessive, right? It's X-linked recessive. Okay, I will show you like the genetic crosses, right? So you can see unaffected father and unaffected mother, right? So she is a carrier, right? Yeah, like she doesn't present color blindness, because I said color blindness is usually for boys. Girls will be carriers, right? So you can see here the affected son, right? So it's X-linked recessive, X-linked recessive inheritance. Okay, next question. A couple came for medical genetic counseling. The man has hemophilia, right? This bleeding disorder. The woman is healthy, and there are no cases of hemophilia in her family, right? There are no cases at all, right? So the genetic presentation will be like this. This one is the father, right? The husband. You can see he has hemophilia. That's why you see the small h here, right? X, small h, and then y, right? This woman is absolutely healthy. There is no history of hemophilia, so there is no small letter h, right? all are capital letters, right? There is no history of that kind of pathology, right? So let's form the gametes. These are the gametes for each and every parent, right? And then if you do a crosses for first filial generation, right? Okay, so this is what will happen, right? If you check like the first one here, you can see this girl. She is normal. She doesn't have hemophilia, but she is a carrier. The second one, again, she is a carrier. She is healthy, but she's a carrier, right? And then the son is absolutely healthy. And here the other son is healthy again, right? So the question is saying, what is the risk of having a sick child in this family? The probability is 0 because all these ones are healthy, right? All these ones are healthy. So the answer is A. Okay. Oval and round organelles have double wall. Okay, let me read again. Oval and round organelles with double wall are seen at the electron micrograph. The outer membrane is smooth and the inner membrane is folded into cristae containing the ATPase enzyme, right? Okay, so if you know your biology, you just need if they mention inner membrane folded into cristae plus ATPase, so this is definitely a mitochondria, right? So this one is just the basic structure. So here in yellow you can see the outer membrane, right? And in blue, this one is the inner membrane, right? And you can see the folds here, the folding of inner membrane into cristae, and they contain the mitochondrial matrix. And in between the outer membrane and inner membrane, there is intermembrane space, right? Okay, so this is the organ where those electron transport chain, okay, right, for synthesis of ATP, right? So the answer is mitochondria. A tissue sample of benign tumor was studied under electron microscope. A lot of small spherical bodies measuring 15 to 20 nanometers were observed, right? Consisting of 2 unequal subunits. Okay, so this is a very straight question, right? 2 unequal subunits. These are ribosomes, definitely. And this is the basic structure where you have what? The large subunit and small subunit, right? Okay, so it's ribosomes, right? Next, a woman who was sick with rubella during pregnancy gave birth to a deaf child with hair lips and cleft palate, right? So this one is a phenotype, right? This congenital defect is an example of what, right? This is definitely phenocopy, right? It's phenotypic variability, right? It's not genocopy, right? Okay, what about other answers, right? You just need to know, for example, Edward syndrome is trisomy 18 plus. Okay, so you say this one, Edward syndrome 18 plus, Down syndrome 21 plus, and you will be left with Patau. So Patau will be 13 one, right? 13 plus. So 13, 18, and 21 are the most common ones, right? Most common ones. Okay, so Edward syndrome 18 plus, Patau 13 plus, and Down syndrome 21 plus, right? You will see in the next slide you will see these questions again, and I will help you to understand further. A woman who was infected with toxoplasmosis during pregnancy as a child with multiple congenital defects, right? This is a result of what? Okay, so the okay, let me tell you what happens, like in this scenario. The mother is pregnant. She is cleaning after what? After cats, right? So the feces of cats are associated with what? With Toxoplasma gondii, right? So this will lead to extensive congenital defects and even death of the fetus, right? So this condition, okay, or we can say like this acquiring of this parasite during pregnancy is an example of teratogenic effect. So we can say Toxoplasma gondii, yes, teratogenic effect. Okay, let's continue. So here I said the answer is teratogenesis, right? At laboratory experiment, the leukocyte culture was mixed with staphylococci, right? It was mixed with bacteria, right? The neutrophil leukocytes engulfed and digested the bacteria. What process? Okay, what process is this? That's the other way of asking. This process is termed what? Okay, so this one is called phagocytosis, right? So here is a simple presentation. You can see the bacteria here. After being engulfed, they form a phagosome, right? This one is the phagosome. From there, what will happen is they combine with the lysosome vesicle, right? So they form a complex known as a phagolysosome complex, right? Leading to hydrolysis and degradation of this bacteria, this organism, and then release as soluble cellular debris, right? And then they will be released by the process of exocytosis. Okay, so this movement across the cell, endocytosis, exocytosis, okay, there's a specific question there I will explain, right? But for this question here, just remember phagocytosis is the answer here, right? Engulfing, eating, phagocytosis. A 10-year-old child complains of weakness, nausea, irritability. The hormones of, oh, okay. So this one is the second, is repetition, is in the same paper, but they asked it again, right? They didn't change anything, they just repeated it, right? On the underway is your keyword. So the answer will be enterobius vermicularis, right? Okay. So what I'm going to do is like, if I see the question for the second time, I will be pausing, giving you time to pick the answer and be able to explain why it is the correct answer, right? And why other answers are wrong. It's a good thing, right? Part of DNA chain turned about 180 degrees due to gamma radiation. What type of mutation took place in the DNA chain? Right. Okay. So this one is a straight answer. It's invasion. It's not deletion, because if there is deletion, there is a removal of a certain part of a certain gene, right? If there is doubling, there is increase, and translocation is like from one place to another. Replication definitely is a wrong answer, right? So here the answer 180 degrees, the answer is invasion, right? Next question. The study of genealogy of a family with hypertrichosis, that's helix excessive pilosis, is demonstrated that this symptom is manifested in all generations, only in men, and is inherited by son from his father. What type of hypertrichosis inheritance? Okay, what type of inheritance is this? Right. So here, these are the key ways. Only boys are being affected. Secondly, is like across all generation, all the boys in the like in the generation have um, this kind of inheritance pathology, right? So here is the pedigree of this family, right? So you can see here the mother is healthy, but the father is hypertrichosis, right? Their offsprings, all the girls are normal, but all the boys have hypertrichosis, right? Even if this guy get married to a healthy lady here, because she's like from another family, right? The children, all the boys will have the same condition, right? So if it's only affecting boys and across the generation, this one is called Y-linked chromosome in kind of inheritance, right? So it's Y-linked, right? If the father was passing the to all the girls, that one is called what? X-linked dominant. Okay, there is another question. I don't want to confuse you, but you can just remember it, right? So the father is passing to all the boys. It's Y-linked chromosome. If the father is passing to all the girls, it's X-linked dominant. Okay. So in this case, it's Y-linked chromosome because we are talking about what? All the sons, all the boys. Slime, blood, and protozoa of 30 to 200 microns long have been revealed in many species. The body is covered with cilia and has correct oval form of a little bit narrowed anterior and wide round-shaped posterior end. At the anterior end, a mouth is visible. In cytoplasm, there are two nuclei and two short vacuoles. What are the described features typical for? All right, this is a repetition. What do you think? Okay, you know the answer is Balandidium coli, but why? The keywords again. This one, Balandidium coli is the only protozoa with cilia, right? And I said it's associated with pigs. Just to remember, you just need to repeat so that you will be able to tackle these problems. An individual of what am I doing? Okay. An individual is characterized by round face, broad forehead, and Mongolian type of eyelid, right? So Mongolism is another name for Down syndrome. That's all you need to know. These are just other additional features to help you understand, right? So this one is Down syndrome, definitely, right? It's Down syndrome. Mongolism, Down syndrome. RNA polymerase B2 is blocked due to amanitin poisoning. That's poison of death cap. Death cap is a kind of it's a mushroom, right? So if there is a blockage or inhibition of RNA polymerase, which process will not take place? Okay, you just need to know. Okay, let's talk about the central dogma of genetics or central dogma of biology, right? So from DNA to RNA is transcription, right? And from mRNA to protein is translation, right? The enzyme which is responsible for transcription, that's DNA to RNA, okay, specifically messenger RNA, that's mRNA. The enzyme needed there is RNA polymerase, right? Don't be confused by B2 what. It's just the same thing, right? It's um just RNA polymerase responsible for what? For transcription, right? So what will be disturbed? I said on transcription there will be synthesis of what? Of messenger RNA, right? So this one is your answer. All right, this one is just a presentation of what I just said. You can see the RNA polymerase going to opposite direction. The transcription, it happens like from 5 prime to 3 prime, right? From 5 prime to 3 prime. So look at this strand, this one which is a little bit light, right? So it's from 5 prime, it's 5 prime end to the 3 prime end, right? So this one is the RNA being released, right? Yeah, simple as that. So if there is blockage of this enzyme, then it means there is no transcription, there is no synthesis of messenger RNA or mRNA. Moving of daughter chromatids to pores of the cell is observed in mitotically dividing cells. In what stage of mitotic cycle is this cell, right? Or this one is repetition. We have seen this question before. Okay, and you know the answer is anaphase. That's moving to what? To the pores, of the cell, right? So yeah, I'm waiting. Think like like how it happens, think why this the answer is anaphase. Because I showed you a certain picture and I explained to you what happened exactly. I said like there will be what? Formation of spindles. So the spindle fibers will be pulling the daughter chromatids like from the equator, from the equatorial region to the pores of the what? Of the cell, right? So that stage is called what? Anaphase. An experiment proved that UV-radiated cells of patients with xeroderma pigmentosum restored the native DNA structure slower than the cells of healthy individuals, right? As a result of, okay, so this one in healthy individuals, it will be fast because of what? A specific enzyme for reparation, right? So what's the enzyme? Okay, so look here, this presentation is showing you here on X. This one is where you have your DNA mismatch. You need to cut it. So for cutting it, you need endonuclease, right? This enzyme is endonuclease, right? So that's the answer, endonuclease activity for reparation. A sick man with high temperature and lot of tiny wounds on the body has been admitted to the hospital. Think, what's the disease? What's the causative agent? And what's the carrier? And how does it get into the body? Right? I hope you're able to recall all those things, right? So I said it's Rickettsia prowazekii causing endemic typhus being transmitted by the lice, and for entrance is because I said the rickettsia will be in the feces, so on scratching you facilitate the entrance into the body, right? So here the answer is endemic typhus. Hypertrichosis, again, of auricles is caused by a gene that is localized in Y chromosome. The father is this feature. What is the probability to give birth to a boy with such anomaly? Right. So if it is Y-linked, right? If it is Y-linked, it means the father will be passing this condition to all the sons, right? So the probability is 100%. It's just simple as that, right? It's 100%. Here I just returned the pedigree so that you see that all the sons here have hypertrichosis, right? So the probability is 100%. Okay, you can take a break. Okay, let's continue. A woman who was infected with toxoplasmosis during the pregnancy has born a child with multiple congenital defects. This is a result of what? Okay, it's repetition. Think, how is it transmitted? And how does the pregnant mother usually get the parasite? Okay, I hope you're able to remember everything. So this is teratogenesis, right? The parasite, the Toxoplasma gondii, has teratogenic effect, right? And I said it can lead to intrauterine death, right? So the answer is teratogenesis. Okay, next question. A patient with okay, next question. Okay, next question. Parents with an ill child consulted an infectionist. They have been working in one of the Asian countries for a very long time. A child has sallow skin, loss of appetite, laxity, enlargement of liver, spleen, and peripheral lymph nodes. Okay, what protozoal illness was suspected here? Okay, so here, just to remember, this one is leishmaniasis, right? It's visceral leishmaniasis. Is the answer, right? Because it's usually found in the Asian countries, right? And it's visceral because of enlargement of these organs, right? Okay, bonus point. Uh, there are three forms of leishmaniasis, right? The most deadly one is this visceral leishmaniasis. Another form is called cutaneous leishmaniasis, and also sometimes we have mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. And talking about the parasites themselves, uh, like there are two main ones. We have Leishmania tropica and Leishmania donovani, and we have other kinds also, like Leishmania infantum and Leishmania mexicana. There are a lot, but these one are the main ones, right? um and you just need to know the transmission. The transmission is mediated by a sandfly of Phlebotomus genus, right? Okay, let me see if I have okay, I don't have the picture for Phlebotomus. I will show you in the next slides. I'm sure I have it, right? Healthy parents have got a fair-haired, blue-eyed girl, right? The symptoms are irritability, anxiety, sleep, and feeding disturbances, right? So these symptoms developed in the first month of infant's life. Neurological examination revealed developmental lag. What method of genetic investigation should be used for exact diagnosis? Right, because of these symptoms, feeding disorders, sleeping disorders, and neurological disturbances, this is definitely like some disorders of amino acid pathways, right? So this can be PKU, for example, but we want to be sure. The For metabolic disorders, we usually do biochemical test, right? So again, feeding and neurological symptoms is associated with metabolic disorders. And for metabolic disorders, I said we do what? Biochemical testing. Right. part of DNA chain turned 180 degrees as a result of gamma radiation. What type of mutation took place in the DNA chain? Okay, you already know the answer. It's invasion, right? This question is simple. You just need to take it. Okay, next. Low level of albumin's fibrinogens was detected in the patient's blood. Decreased activity of what organelle of the liver hepatocyte can most probably cause it, right? Okay, so here albumins and fibrinogen, these ones are proteins, right? So if they are decreased, there is a disorder in what? In protein synthesis. So the first thing you need to look for is lysosome, right? So if there are no, no, not lysosome, ribosomes, that's where the protein synthesis takes place, right? If there are no ribosomes, then we need to look forward for uh, granular or rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, it's rough in the sense that, okay, initially it's smooth, right? It's smooth, and then what will happen is like the ribosomes will be attaching there on the endoplasmic reticulum, making it what? Making it rough, like that's the appearance on the electron microscope. And for attachment of ribosomes, they need magnesium ions, all right? Okay, you will see another question which talks about deficiency of magnesium ion, right? And what process does it affect if the patient has a deficient of magnesium, right? So the answer is attachment of what? Ribosomes to endoplasmic reticulum, right? So rough or granular, it's same thing, right? A granular is smooth endoplasmic reticulum, right? For smooth endoplasmic reticulum, the function is a synthesis of lipids like cholesterol, phospholipids, steroids, those things, right? And also, like in smooth muscle cells, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is known as the sarcoplasmic reticulum, and it acts as like a storage for calcium. Okay, we'll talk about it in, I think it's in biochemistry, right? Mitochondrion, you already know this, is for ATP synthesis. Golgi complex, this one is deals with packaging and exportation of of different molecules out of the cell, right? And lysosomes is degradation of cellular debris, because lysosomes contains hydrolytic enzymes, right? So here the answer is what? Is granular or rough endoplasmic reticulum, right? Okay, next question. A duodenal content smear of a patient with indigestion contain protozoa of 10 to 18 micrometers large, okay? They have pyriform bodies, 4 pairs of filaments, 2 symmetrically located nuclei in the broadened part of the body, right? What kind of lowest organism is this, right? This one is Giardia or Giardia lamblia or just lamblia, right? And it looks like this, right? So you can see this one is a trophozoite and this one is the cyst. On trophozoite, you can see I said 4 pairs, right? 4 pairs of filaments. That's your first hint. That's 1 pair. This one, this 2, the second pair, and this one 3. Then this one on the middle, this one is called axostyle, right? Okay, so another symptom associated with lambliasis is steatoria, right? Steatoria is like this, the presence of fats, like extensive amount of fats in the feces, and also there will be foul smelling. Okay, so the answer is lamblia, right? It's not entamoeba histolytica, what, because that one has 4 cysts. And for trichomonas, this one, there should be involvement of a gynecologist, and the symptoms will be associated with urogenital tract, right? And Balantidium coli, you already know this one. This one is the only ciliated protozoa, right? And associated with pigs. So all these answers are wrong, right? And Giardia lamblia is the correct one. Microscopic examination of the sputum of patients with pneumonia occasionally revealed some larvae. Eosinophils were detected on blood examination. What helminthiasis can be diagnosed, right? So the first point is pneumonia. Pneumonia, it means there is involvement of what? Of the lungs, right? And you see larvae. So you need to think about the larva migrants. Is kind of parasites which migrate to the respiratory tract, right? And again, eosinophils, their main function is attacking the helminths, right? So eosinophilia is the increased number of eosinophils, right? So if the patient has Ascaris lumbricoides, that's the name of the parasite here, Ascaris lumbricoides. The disease is ascariasis, right? So the patient will present with these symptoms: presence of larva, and eosinophilia. Okay, let me show you the life cycle of Ascaris lumbricoides. Okay, so it looked like this, right? So here in the GIT, all right, in the intestines, you have adult, like adult helminth, right? So there are two pathways. They can be passed out through feces, right? So firstly, you need to know that there is a male and female, right? On mating, there will be like fertilization of eggs, but not all. Some eggs will not be fertilized, so they will not develop any further. They will just stop there. But if they are fertilized, they continue with development, because like this one is an embryonated egg, right? So embryonated eggs, this one is the infective form for humans, and then the cycle will continue, right? Then the second pathway from the large intestine, from the intestines in general, is small intestine, because there is absorption into the blood. So it's a hematogenous pathway. So they migrate to the lungs, right? So they migrate to the lungs, causing that pneumonia we talked about in the previous on the previous slide, right? And they can be expectorated out, and then there will be like sometimes, some people can swallow back, and then it will go to the GIT, and that cycle again. And sometimes we should expectorate out, not inside. Okay, it's just a way like to help you remember these things, right? In a genetics specialist analyzed the genealogy of a family and found that both males and females have an illness. So if both males and females have illness, it means it's not sex linked, right? It's not sex linked. And not all generations and healthy parents have ill children, right? So if the condition is not affecting all the generations, it means it's a recessive. It's not dominant, right? If it is dominant, it affects all the generations, right? So because the other children don't have this condition, it means it's recessive. So the correct answer is autosomal recessive, right? As I just said, both male and females are affected. So from C to E, these answers are wrong. Then for dominant is associated with like all the generations, everyone in the family. But recessive is like when the other children are healthy and some are ill, right? Okay. Analysis of amniotic fluid was obtained as a result of amniocentesis. The puncture of amniotic sac revealed the nuclei of which contains sex chromatin. This one is heterochromatin, right? So this is also known as bar body, right? I have a question with calculation. How do you calculate the bar bodies in diagnosis of other diseases? You will see it, right? I don't want to confuse you, but in this case, after amniocentesis, and you see the cells with bar body, it means the fetus is going to be a female, right? It's going to be a female, right? Another application is, for example, at a crime scene, right? You see a drop of blood, but you don't see any blood or what. You can take the blood, put it under the microscope, and see the like the neutrophils, for example. They will present with what? With bar bodies if the blood belongs to a female. If it is a male, then there is no bar body, right? It's another application. Okay, let's continue. A woman with blood group O, right, is first blood group, has born a child with AB. This one is fourth blood group, right? First blood group, fourth blood group, and the husband has A blood group, right? Right. So this is an example of what this kind of interaction is known as recessive epistasis, right? So here is the definition of recessive epistasis, right? Okay, epistatic gene in genetics is a gene that determines whether or not a trait will be expressed. The system of gene that determines skin color, for example, in men is independent of the gene responsible for albinism or the gene responsible for skin development, right? Yeah, so that's the that's epistasis. That's epistasis. So here on these blood groups, right, which which may seem like not associated in this case, is called what? A recessive epistasis. A recessive epistasis. Examination of patient revealed reduced contents of magnesium ions. Remember this one. I talked about it previously. Necessary for attachment of ribosomes for granular endoplasmic reticulum. It is known that it causes disturbance of protein biosynthesis. What stage of protein biosynthesis will be disturbed? Definitely is translation. That's from mRNA to proteins. It's translation, right? Not transcription. Transcription is from DNA to RNA. This one, replication is something different, occurring like in cell division. And what is this one? Amino acid activation is this one. It happens during protein synthesis, but it has nothing to do with those magnesium ions, etc. And termination, no. So the correct answer is translation, right? Just to remember your magnesium ions, right? Magnesium ions necessary for attachment of ribosome to granular endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so the answer is translation. Okay, next question. According to the data of WHO, for about 250 million of Earth population fall ill with malaria. This disease is mostly spread in tropical and subtropical regions. Range of its spread falls into the area of the following mosquito. Anopheles mosquito. Culex and Aedes, these are some usually there are some viruses which are transmitted by this kind of mosquito. These other ones, they are wrong, right? Just remember, for malaria, female Anopheles mosquito, right? So the answer is what? Is Anopheles. Labeled amino acids alanine and tryptophan were introduced into a mouse in order to study the localization of protein biosynthesis in its cells. Around what organelles will the accumulation of labeled amino acid be observed? Right? So protein biosynthesis, it happens like on the ribosomes, right? So the answer is ribosome, right? If there is no ribosomes among the answers, then the answer will be granular or rough endoplasmic reticulum. That's the correct answer. In some regions of South Africa, there is a spread sickle-shaped cell anemia, in which erythrocytes have shape of sickle as a result of substitution of glutamine by valine in the hemoglobin molecule. Okay, we talked about this previously, but you see how they asked this. They want to know if you really understand what happens, like the basis. So this substitution which happens, this one is actually a mutation, right? It's genetic mutation, right? So the answer is genetic mutation. RNA that contains AIDS virus penetrated into a leukocyte and by means of reverse transcriptase forced the cell to synthesize the viral DNA. What process? Okay, this process is based upon what? Oh, okay, so here you have the enzyme reverse transcriptase. This enzyme reverses the process of transcription. It's just that simple, right? So another name for this enzyme is called RNA-dependent RNA polymerase, right? So I think we'll come across this RNA-dependent RNA polymerase in microbiology, right? We're also going to do microbiology. Right, so the process mediated by reverse transcriptase is reverse transcription, synthesis of DNA from RNA, right? From DNA to RNA is RNA polymerase, right? DNA to RNA is RNA polymerase, and then RNA to DNA is reverse transcriptase or RNA dependent RNA polymerase. Okay, that went well. Next, okay, the next question. A 32-year-old man is tall, is gynecomastia, right? So this guy is a little boobs. Okay, adult woman pattern of hair distribution, okay, and he has a high voice and mental deficiency, right? And also he cannot have kids, so he is a sterile, that's sterility. Provisional diagnosis is Klinefelter syndrome. In order to specify diagnosis, it is necessary to analyze what? Okay, so for Klinefelter, we need to analyze the karyotype. Okay, do you know the karyotype of Klinefelter syndrome? Okay, it's 47XXY. 47XXY. That's the karyotype of Klinefelter syndrome. We will see it again in the next slides. We'll see the Klinefelter syndrome. All right, so I said we do what? A karyogram, right? So it's karyotype is the answer here. Autopsy of a newborn boy revealed polydactyly, microcephaly, chalioschitis, uranoschitis, as well as hypertrophy of our parenchymatous organs. These defects correspond with description of Patau syndrome. What is the most probable cause of what? Of Patau syndrome, right? Remember I told you guys 13 plus is Patau, 18 plus is Edward, 18 Edward, and 21 is Down syndrome, right? Just like that. Non-disjunction, this one is Turner syndrome. This one will be XO, right? So these answers are wrong, right? For Patau syndrome is 13 plus, so it's trisomy of the 13th chromosome, right? A patient complains of pain in the area of the liver, right? In the right hypochondria. Duodenal intubation revealed yellow, oval, and narrowed at the pores, eggs, right? So the eggs are like they have narrow pores with an operculum end. So operculum, Opistorchis sinensis. This is how I remember it. Operculum, Opistorchis sinensis. And the other thing is like Opistorchis sinensis among the helminths, it's the one with the smallest eggs, right? So here are your keywords: operculum and smallest eggs among the helminths, right? So the name of the disease is Opistorchis, right? Opistorchosis. The parasite is Opistorchis sinensis or Chinese flu. Yeah. Right. Next question. A child complains of general weakness, loss of appetite, and troubled sleep, itching in the perianal area. Provisional diagnosis, you know it already, is enterobis vermicularis. In order to specify this diagnosis, it is necessary to perform what? Right, I told you guys, you do like scraping on the perianal folds, right? That's how you collect the sample or specimen, right? Scraping from perianal folds is your answer. So I think this one is the third time, like, and then this one is twisted. Because if you understood the previous question of enterobis vermicularis, this question is just a simple, just a walkover. Okay. In course of practical training, students studied blood stain, blood smear. Okay, I don't know why I'm running. All right, so this is what I do. Please don't learn from your mistake, right? Like those sayings, like you learn from mistakes. I don't encourage you to do that. Learn from my mistakes, right? Because if we continue making mistakes, and if I don't tell you my mistake, then we will be doomed, right? So you need to be steady, right? I usually race against time, not paying much attention to what the question is asking. So I need you to pay more attention and read steadily. I can't do that, it's my problem, but I just want to help you. Okay. In course of practical training, students studied a stained blood smear of mouse with bacteria phagocytized by leukocytes. What cell organelles will complete the digestion of this bacteria? Okay, I said the lysosomes. After phagocytosis, there will be a phagosome, right? The phagosome will combine with a lysosome to form a phagolysosome complex, and this one will, because the lysosome contains hydrolytic enzyme, they will complete the digestion of this bacteria, right? And then releasing the useless soluble debris outside the cell, right? By exocytosis, if you still remember, right? Okay, so the key was phagocytosis. From phagocytosis, there will be interaction with the lysosomes. So the lysosome is the answer. Mitochondria, no, if you put these answers, I will track you down. I'm kidding, right? Next question. A woman with a blood group B and rhesus negative born a child with blood group A. The child is diagnosed with hemolytic disease of a newborn as a result of rhesus incompatibility, what blood group is the father likely to have? All right, so the first thing, you see this mother is rhesus negative, but so it means because of this incompatibility, it means the baby is rhesus positive. It means the father is rhesus positive. So among your answers, you need to find what? Rhesus positive. So these last two are already wrong, right? You are left with these ones. And you see that the mother is blood group what? B, and the child has A. So you need to look for A for the father, right? So it's the first one, A. That's the answer. So I just underlined the keywords for you, but it's simple. It's simple. 2 days after consumption of smoked pork. Oh, pork worm. Just to remember, porkworm. Okay, I will tell you the other name for porkworm. Just to pay attention. A patient got face and eyelid edema, right? So edema of the eyelids, and gastrointestinal disturbances, sudden temperature rise, muscle pain, etc. Blood analysis showed full-blown eosinophilia, that's increased number of eosinophils. The helminth, what helminth could the patient be infected with, right? So I said porkworm. So porkworm is another name for what? For spiralis, right? Trichina spiralis or Trichinella spiralis, right? It looks like this. Trichinella spiralis, it looks like this, and they can shorten it to trichina, right? Trichina. That's the correct answer here, right? So just you need to pay attention when cooking pork. You need to cook it thoroughly, because you may be infected with this Trichinella spiralis. In course of prophylactic medical examination, a 7-year-old boy was diagnosed with daltonism. Daltonism is color blindness. Parents are healthy. Color vision is normal. Oh, okay. They told you about color vision. But the grandfather from the grandmother's side, if you just try to understand, the grandfather from the mother's side, it means the mother is already a carrier here. Okay. So what is the type of inheriting? Okay, what is the type of inheritance does this anomaly take place? So this one, I said the mother is a carrier, so it's recessive sex linked, right? Recessive sex linked. Dominant sex linked happens if the father is passing to all the daughters, right? And all these answers are wrong because they have nothing to do with sex, so they are wrong, because we are saying like color blindness affects only boys. Girls will be carriers, right? So the answer is recessive sex linked. Recessive sex linked. A lymph node punctate of a patient with suspected protozoal disease was examined. Examination of the stained specimen by Romanovsky is staining, right, revealed some crescent bodies with pointed end, blue cytoplasm, and red nucleus. What protozoa was revealed like in this smear? All right, okay, let me show you how it looked like first, right? Okay, then I will show you what the keywords, right? So here okay, firstly, you understood that we are talking about the protozoa, right? That's the first thing. Secondly, crescent bodies. You can see the shape of this organism is crescent, right? And pointed ends. If you check here, these ends are pointed. Blue cytoplasm here is kind of bluish, right? And red nucleus. You can see the red nuclei, right? So this one is what Toxoplasmosis. Toxoplasma gondii. Right. That's the answer. Next question. It was proved that a molecule of immature mRNA, that's precursor mRNA, contained more triplets than amino acid found in the synthesized protein. The reason for that is that the translation is normally preceded by what? By processing, right? So in processing, there will be like cutting of those introns and exons, right? Removing the introns and leaving the exons. If you still remember that, okay, just okay. I don't want you to be confused. Just to remember, after translation, okay, before, okay, we say before translation because it's preceded by what? Before translation, there is processing, right? There is processing. All right, so okay, so it was proved that a molecule of immature RNA, immature messenger RNA, this one, contained more triplets than the amino acid found in the synthesized proteins. What is the reason for? What is the reason for that? It was proved that a molecule of immature messenger RNA or precursor mRNA contained more triplets than amino acids found in the synthesized proteins. The reason for that is that translation is normally preceded by what? By processing. Just like that. Not initiation, not reparation, mutation. No, those answers are wrong. I told you what I'm going to do if you put these answers. Remember, even on top of the question paper, there is an instruction. Write only correct answers. But the problem is we have speed. We don't want to think. That's why we put wrong answers. But the correct answer will always be close, right? Okay, next question. Continuous taking of some drugs foregoing the pregnancy increase the risk of giving birth to a child with genetic defects. What is this effect called? Right. So like here the taking in of drugs is associated with what? Genetic defects, like the genes themselves, right? So this is like mutagenic effect. Mutagenic effect. For toxoplasmosis, that was a teratogenic effect. Okay, I have another scenario. Tell me in the comment section. Right. So imagine a pregnant woman taking in tetracyclines or doxycycline, for example. Then this mother gave birth to a child with impaired teeth development. What is it? Is it mutagenic or teratogenic? Just tell me in the comment section and explain why it is. On your explanation, I just want to see the difference between mutagenic and teratogenic, right? Just for fun. All right. Okay, because like the reason why I'm doing this is not only for you, even for other people who are to come. Make sure we need to make sure they understand, right? I finished Krok, but I just want to make sure you understand. So just you need to do something for other people just for free, just like that. Okay, so here I said the answer is what? Mutagenic effect. While studying maximally spiralized chromosomes of human karyotype, the process of cell division was stopped in the following phase. Oh, so maximum spiralization, it happens when the chromosomes are on the equatorial region, right? So it's metaphase. Metaphase, that's the period or the phase where the chromosomes are on the equator, right? So the answer is what? Metaphase. A patient has acne on his face. Microscopic examination of scraping from the affected areas revealed living porate. I don't know what they mean by porate. Vermiform arthropod, but this will not confuse or. Can you mute? Listen. A patient has acne on his face. Microscopic examination of scrapings from the affected area revealed living porate, or I don't know what they mean, vermiform arthropods. Now you know that they are talking about arthropods of 0.2 to 0.5 millimeters, right? With 4 pairs of short extremities in the front part of their bodies. What is the laboratory diagnosis, right? Okay, so here are the keywords: 4 pairs of short extremities on the front part of their bodies, right? So this one is definitely a mite, right? And this mite is known as what? Demodex mite, right? And it looked like this, right? So if you see here on the frontal part, on the front part, that's where you see 4 extremities which are short: 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So 4 pairs, like this side and the other side, right? So that's your, so it means the diagnosis is demodicosis. Demodicosis is the answer, right? I also want to add few things because people tend to confuse scabies. Scabies is caused by Sarcoptes scabies, right? So the difference is just simple. The demodex usually affect the face, eyelashes, eyebrows, and the head, like the head region. But scabies will affect the armpits, genital area, or within the elbows or back of the knee. That's your popliteal fossa, right? All these answers are wrong. Myiasis, these are some tissue eating larvae called transmitted by the wall fat fly. Pediculosis is something different. That's I told you about pediculosis. I said you have pediculus humanus capitis for the head, pediculus humanus corporis, that's body louse, and then psoriasis, this one is louse of the what? Pubic region, right? Next question. Golgi complex exports substances from a cell due to fusion of membrane sacle, right, or vesicle with a cell membrane, right? The sacle or the vesicle contents flows out. What process is it, right? So, okay, these are your keywords: fusion of the vesicle membrane and the membrane of the cell, right? So this is the process, right? Here you can see your vesicle with contents. Here you can see fusion, and then here you will see release. So this one is exocytosis, right? So the answer is exocytosis. Okay, let me talk about endocytosis. Endocytosis is taking in of different molecules into the cell, right? And it's divided into 3 parts. There is phagocytosis, that's intake of what? Solids. Pinocytosis, that's intake of liquids, or is also known as cell drinking. And then the other one is receptor mediated endocytosis, right? So if you did your biochemistry, you know those lipoproteins, they are also taken into cells through that process, and some different molecules are also taken by the receptor mediated endocytosis, right? The other answers like active transport, this one it needs ATP, is something different. It's a wrong answer. Facilitated diffusion, this one is associated with channel proteins, where the channel proteins will open to the outside, take the what? Take the molecule and then put it inside, then the other way, right? That's facilitated diffusion, or it's like specific for like specific kind of molecules, right? And also, if you put the number E, all answers are false. I told you what I'm going to do. I don't want to repeat. Right. A boy found a spider with the following morphological characteristics. It is 2 centimeters long. It has roundish black abdomen with 2 rows of red spots on the dorsal side. 4 pairs of jointed limbs are covered with small black hairs. What arthropod is this? Okay, so this one is definitely a spider, right? So I want to show you how it look like, right? It look like this, right? It look like this, right? Okay, so I indicated the answer already, but I just want to tell you like how I remember this spider, right? This spider reminds me the Russian assassin in Blacklist. So if you watch Blacklist, you know the guy called Karakut, right? And on his on his first appearance, he had a red vest, right? So this one helped me to remember what? Karakut, right? So this spider is a Karakut spider, right? That's the answer. Okay, you can take a break. Okay, so this is the last part of this presentation, right? So let's finish. A pregnant woman had her blood group identified. The reaction of erythrocyte agglutination with standard serums for blood group 1, blood group 3 didn't proceed with the blood group 2. All right, let me read again. What's happening? Okay. Reaction of erythrocyte agglutination with standard serum of blood group 1 and of blood group what? And of blood group 3. But there is no agglutination in on this blood group. Okay, let me show you the solution, how to work it out, right? Okay, the first thing you need to know about blood groups, like general rule, it says like blood group O is a universal donor, and blood group AB is a universal recipient. But these days they are no longer doing that. Blood group A will only give or receive A, and etc. Everything is like they are no longer mixing. I don't know why. Okay, so we are saying like there is uh like the agglutination didn't proceed with what? With group A, but it means there was like agglutination in type O, that's type 1, and in type B, here there was agglutination, but there was no agglutination with type A. So it means the blood group is group A. That's the answer. For AB, they didn't talk about it like in this question, right? So there is no agglutination in what? In A, this one, in second group. That's why the blood is blood group A. Okay, you will see these questions in the next slides. You will see them again, and you understand different scenarios where you apply this kind of table, right? I will be showing you, right? So here I said the answer is A. That's blood group 2. It was found out that some compounds, for instance, fungal toxins and some antibiotics, can inhibit the RNA polymerase. What process will be disturbed in a cell in the case of inhibition of this enzyme? All right, so RNA polymerase, guys, remember this is the fourth time. RNA polymerase is the enzyme for transcription, right, from DNA to RNA. RNA polymerase. So the answer is transcription. Life cycle of a cell includes the process of DNA autoduplication as a result of monochromatic, that's more or like from single chromosomes, right, into dichromatic ones. Like there is like duplication. Okay, you can just say duplication because the terms like monochromatic, dichromatic, chromatic is something to do with colors. I don't know what happened like when they were writing these terms, right? Okay, but that should not uh make you choose wrong answers, right? You should understand there is DNA reduplication. That's the keyword, right? That's the keyword. So this one is the cell cycle with interphase, and this one is mitosis, PMET, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase, right? The first gap is called G1, right? G1. So G1, here there will be like increase in cell size, making sure that all nutrients are available and some growth factors needed for what? For DNA synthesis, right? And also they will need to check if the DNA is damaged. So there is this checkpoint mediated by the enzyme called what? Is P53, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, P53 is here on the first checkpoint. Then from there, the DNA synthesis happens here. That's where the duplication occurs, right? That's where the duplication occurs here, right? So that's the synthesis phase. That's the synthesis phase. And also some cells, like for example, like liver cells, they undergo the resting state called G0. Liver cells and enterocytes, they enter this stage. Right, so I said the correct answer is synthesis phase, right? Synthesis phase, that's where duplication of DNA okay. Examination of a 12-year-old boy with developmental lag revealed achondroplasia, right? uh Achondroplasia is following features like disproportional constitution with evidence of shortening of upper and lower limb as a result of disorder of epiphyseal cartilage of long bones. This one is dwarfism, right? It's dwarfism, right? So achondroplasia is a genetic disorder whose primary feature is dwarfism, right? So how is it transmitted, or how is it how does children get this one? It's actually inherited, right? That's the first part. So acquired and congenital, these ones are wrong answers already, right? And it's not sex linked because it can affect like both sexes, both boys and girls, right? It's not recessive because there are no carriers of this kind of dwarfism or achondroplasia. There are no carriers. It's dominant, right? So it's inherited dominant. That's the answer. So the answer is inherited dominant. A gynecologist was examining a patient and reviewed symptoms of genital tract inflammation. A smear from vagina contains pyriform protozoa with a spine, flagella on the front, and there is also an undulating membrane, right? What disease is suspected here? I told you guys, I think yeah, in previous slides I was talking about trichomonas, right? So this one is urogenital trichomoniasis. The parasite is actually called Trichomonas vaginalis. And okay, here I'm just underlining the keywords, right? Urogenital tract, presence of flagella, like, and also the undulating membrane, right? So it looked like this, right? Here you can see the undulating membrane, and you can see the flagella here, right? So the answer is urogenital trichomoniasis. Urogenital trichomoniasis. Lambliasis, I told you this answer is wrong. It's absolutely wrong. I said lambliasis is associated with foul-smelling stools with a lot of fats, right? This one, intestinal trichomoniasis, is wrong because here the symptoms are of urogenital. Toxoplasma, this one is absolutely wrong. And Balandidium coli, no, if you put these answers, you have a problem. I'm kidding. Okay, so the answer is urogenital trichomoniasis. That's the answer. And next question. Hartnup disease is caused by a point mutation of one gene, which results in disturbance of tryptophan absorption in the bowels and its resorption in the renal tubules. It is the reason for disorder of both digestive and urination system. What genetic phenomenon is observed in this case? Right, so here is the keyword. There is actually a point mutation, and only one gene is mutated, right? Only one gene is mutated. So you can see like different systems which seem to be unrelated, right? So but the mutation only happens like on one gene, right? So this one, this kind of mutation is known as what? Pleiotropy, right? This kind of phenomenon is known as pleiotropy, right? Point mutation, one gene affecting different systems, right? So the answer is pleiotropy. As a result of prophylactic medical examination, a 7-year-old boy was diagnosed with Leishman syndrome, right? So this one affect only boys, right? The parents of both, okay, the parents are healthy, but the grandfather from mother's side suffers from the same disease. What type of disease inheritance is this? So if the father of the mother, if the mother's father, that's the grandfather, he has this condition, the mother is a carrier, right? The mother is a carrier, so is recessive sex linked. Recessive sex linked. Okay. So recessive sex linked is the answer, right? Here I again highlighted the key points. Only boys are affected. The grandfather on mother's side suffers from the same disease, so the mother is a carrier. The mother is passing this condition to the sons, right? To the son. X-linked dominant, I told you this one only happens if the father is passing the condition to all the daughters. Autosomal, what? These ones have nothing to do with, because this condition is sex-linked, right? So these ones are not sex-linked, so they are wrong. Don't make that mistake. A man suffering from a hereditary disease married a healthy woman. They got 5 children, 3 girls and 2 boys. All the girls inherited their father's disease. Remember, I just told you, all the girls inherited their father's disease. What type of disease inheritance is this? This one is X-linked dominant. X-linked dominant, right? That's the answer. A patient's organism has decreased the concentration of magnesium ions. You already know what I'm talking about. It's protein synthesis, and I'm saying magnesium ions are needed for what? for attachment of ribosome to the granular endoplasmic reticulum. This is the site where biosynthesis, protein biosynthesis takes place, right? And protein synthesis, what stage of protein biosynthesis will be disturbed? Translation, right? So translation is the answer. So here I just highlighted the keywords again, but we've seen this question before, right? A female patient consulted a physician about digestive disorder, extended abdominal pain. On examination, examination revealed drastic decrease in hemoglobin concentration. It is known from the anamnesis that while living in the Far East, the patient used to eat freshly salted caviar, and some relatives living with here had the similar condition. What is likely diagnosis, right? So the first thing on hemoglobin concentration, this is deficiency of vitamin B12 or cyanocobalamin, right? So the parasite is destroying the intrinsic factor of castle, right? So this intrinsic factor is important for absorption of vitamin B12. So if it is deficient, there will be megaloblastic anemia, right? So this parasite is usually found in fish, right? In fish, and the parasite is known as Diphyllobothrium latum, right? And the disease is Diphyllobothriasis, right? So Diphyllobothriasis is your answer. In the perianal folds of a 5-year-old girl, her mother has found some white worms that cause the itch and anxiety of the child. The worms were sent to the laboratory for examination, right? And during examination, the physician saw white filiform helminths of 0.1 to 1 centimeter long with pointed eggs, and some helminths have like twisted ends, right? And the eggs are achromic. That's the other thing they can tell you, right? So this girl is enterobiasis, right? The name of the parasite is Enterobius vermicularis, right? So here I just underlined the keywords. I think this one is the fifth time. This one is the fifth question here. So guys, be ready. They always repeat questions, but they can just twist just to see if you understand the concept, right? The answer is enterobiasis. Medical examination of the military registration and enlistment office revealed that a 15-year-old boy was high with anechoic body, proportion, gynecomastia, right? So he has some large breast, and the pattern of pubic hair is like female pattern. The boy had also fat deposit on the thighs, no facial hairs, and the voice was high. Subnormal intelligent quotient was the other thing, right? Which karyotype corresponds with this disease, right? So the disease is Klinefelter syndrome. Klinefelter syndrome, and I told you that the karyotype is 47XXY, right? So if you check the buccal cells of this guy, you will see one bar body, right? You will see one bar body. So okay, I promise you that there is a question where I will show you how to calculate bar body and why in this patient with Klinefelter you will find a bar body, right? Okay, I will show you. It's coming next. During a prophylactic medical examination, a 7-year-old boy was diagnosed with daltonism, right? This one is color blindness. Again, it's repetition. Okay, and I I am sure you know the kind of inheritance, because the mother is a carrier, right? Because her father is color blindness, so it's a sex-linked recessive, right? So sex-linked recessive is the answer. A woman delivered a dead child with multiple developmental defects. Think I talked about Toxoplasma gondii. It's a straight thing, right? What protozoan disease might have caused the intrauterine death is toxoplasmosis, right? Toxoplasmosis. Leishmania, no, Leishmania doesn't cause such condition. I told you visceral leishmaniasis, cutaneous leishmaniasis, like visceral, this enlargement of liver, spleen, and peripheral lymph nodes, etc. Right? Malaria, no, malaria doesn't cause these kind of conditions. Amebia, lamblia, no. The answer is toxoplasma. You are studying functioning of a bacterial operon, right? The operator gene is being released from the repressor gene. Immediately after this, the following process will start, right? Okay, let me show you what they are talking about, right? So this one is lac operon system, right? Lac operon system. Right, here you have the repressor gene. If there is a repressor, then there is no transcription. But if you release the repressor, if you remove the brakes, then the transcription will follow, like here. If you remove the repressor, then the RNA polymerase will come and bind, and then it will continue the process of transcription, right? So it's easy, right? And in Krok, I realized that they don't ask like deep questions on lac operon, right? But in some examination boards, you need to study more. You need to have more knowledge on lac operon system, right? But for the sake of Krok, here they just want you to point out transcription, right? Okay, next question. A man has worked in an African country for 3 years. A month later, uh, after his return to Ukraine, he consulted an ophthalmologist and complained about eye ache and eyelid edema, and also lacrimation and temporary visual impairment. Underneath the eye conjunctiva, the doctor revealed helminth of 30 to 50 millimeters, that's 3 to 5 centimeters long, filiform body. What diagnosis is this, right? So this one is filiaris, right? But okay, let me show you what the doctor saw on the conjunctiva of the patient, right? All right. Okay, I will explain like the keywords later, right? So this is what the doctor saw. Here you are looking at the worm called lower, right? The disease is called lower rhodosis. It belongs to the filiaris, right? It belongs to the filiaris, right? So it's most common in African countries. That's why I highlighted this. And also is found in the eye. It's the only one. Please don't make mistakes. Diphyllobothriasis, I told you about megaloblastic anemia, right? This one, it causes malabsorption of vitamin B12. Ascaris lumbricoides, lava migraines. I told you about its movement from the GIT via hematogenous way to the lungs. Enterobius femicularis, you know this one, perianal folds, usually in children. Trichocephalus trichiurus, no, this one is absolutely a different parasite. So here on the eye, it's only what? The filiaris, right? Filiaris is the answer. Lower. A 28-year-old female patient consulted a gynecologist about sterility, right? Examination revealed underdevelopment of ovaries, uterus, and irregular menstrual cycle. Analysis of sex chromatin revealed two bar bodies, right? Two bar bodies in most somatic cells. What chromosome disease is most likely? All right, now this is the question I was talking about on calculation of bar bodies, right? So here is the simple formula. Let A be the number of bar bodies and N be the number of X chromosomes, right? So this is the formula. Number of bar bodies is equal to number of X chromosomes minus 1, right? So in this case, you have two bar bodies, right? So you already have your A. So you want to find the number of what? Number of X chromosomes, right? So if you take this one and you add it to the other side, you will get 3. So this lady is 3 X chromosomes. Is also known as triple X syndrome, right? Triple X syndrome. Okay, it's easy. It was established that agglutination of the recipient's blood erythrocytes had been caused by the standard serum from blood group 1 and 2. Serum from 3 as well as anti-serum didn't provoke any agglutination. What blood group and rhesus is allowed to be transfused to this patient, right? You have seen like the third group and rhesus negative, so that's the answer, right? Okay. Yeah, there's no further explanation, because if there is no agglutination in third group and anti-rhesus is negative, it means rhesus negative. So you just need to find third blood group on your answer, and also you need to find rhesus negative, and this is the answer, right? Blood group 3. Labeled amino acid alanine and tryptophan were injected into a mouse in order to start localization of protein synthesis in its cells. The labeled amino acids will accumulate near the following organelles. Protein synthesis. Where? Of course, in ribosomes, right? If there is no ribosomes, you put what? Rough endoplasmic reticulum. I don't know this one. Maybe it's the fourth question. I just want you to understand so that if you see this question again, you must not miss. You must not miss. Right? It's ribosomes. According to the model of DNA helix that was suggested by Watson and Crick, it was established that one of the chains would not be lost during replication, and the second chain would be synthesized complementary to the first one. What way of replication is this, right? Here is the keyword, right? The one of the chains would not be lost during replication, so it has been conserved, right? But the answer here is semi-conservative replication, not conservative. This one is just to confuse you, right? Semi-conservative replication is the one. All right. During regular examination of school children, it was revealed that a 10-year-old girl had asymmetrical oval eggs with the larva in the scrape from the perianal folds. You know what we're talking about, enterobius femicularis. So what diagnosis should be made? Enterobiasis. It's just simple as that. I just highlighted the keywords again, but guys, we've seen this question again and again, and by now I'm sure you understand the concept of enterobius femicularis in children. All right, so the answer I said is enterobiasis. It is known that gene responsible for development of blood groups according to the ABO system has 3 alleles, right? If a man has blood group 4, that's AB, it can be explained by the following variability. right? So it means this one is known as codominance, right? Where there is expression of both what A and B, codominance, right? But here codominance it means is same as combinative, right? So the keywords you just need to know ABO system, 3 alleles, right? So it's combinative. A patient has acne on his face. Microscopic examination of scrapings from the affected area revealed living porrect. This one was correct, I think. Uh, Porrect vermiform arthropod of 0.2 to 0.5 millimeters large, with four pairs of short extremities in the front part of their body. So I'm sure you already know this mite is a demodex mite, right? So it causes demodicosis, right? So for completeness, let me just stimulate your visual memories. So this one is the demodex mite. You see 4 pairs of legs on the front part of the body, right? So 4 on this side and 4 on the other side, right? Okay, is repetition. A family of students who came from Africa got a child with anemia signs. A child died soon. The examination revealed that the child's erythrocytes have abnormal semilunar shape, the sickle cell. Specify the genotypes of the parents, right? Okay, you need to know sickle cell anemia. So I'm saying like this mutation is inherited like by what autosomal recessive pattern, right? So this one on A, this one is the correct answer because it corresponds with what with my presentation here, right? So this one is the correct answer. Next question. A patient working at a pig farm complains about paroxysmal abdominal pain, liquid feces with admixtures of mucus and blood, headache, weakness, and fever. Examination of large intestine revealed ulcers from 1 millimeter up to several centimeters large. Feces contained oval unicellular organisms with cilia. What disease should be suspected, right? So I told you about pigs, right? I said pigs are associated with what? Balandidium coli. And I said Balandidium coli is the only protozoa which is ciliated, right? So the disease is balandidiasis, right? And the keywords here, you just need to know pig farm and unicellular organisms with cilia, right? So Balandidium coli is the answer, right? Normal actively dividing cells of a human red bone marrow are analyzed. What number of cell chromosome is typical for G1, right? So here is the cell cycle again, and on G1 is before doubling, right? So it's 46 chromosomes, right? 46 chromosomes. That's the answer. It's before here. It's before the S phase. That in the S phase, that's where doubling takes place, like doubling of DNA, right? Blood group of a 30-year-old man was specified before an operation. His blood is rhesus positive. Reaction of erythrocyte agglutination was absent in the following sera, like this one is blood group A, B, blood group A, B, and blood group O. There is no agglutination. Right, so here is your the presentation. Okay, so here is the presentation, right? So we are saying like there is no agglutination in what in blood group O, that's the first one. There is no agglutination in A, this one, and also in B. In AB, there is no agglutination, right? So the blood under examination is of which type? All right, so what they are saying is, okay, this one, I said on B, this one, this tick was supposed to be here, right? Because there is no mentioning of AB. But the basic thing is that there is no agglutination if you put blood in this serum, and also if you put it in this serum and this serum, there will be no agglutination. This will only happen if you put RBCs without antigens on their surfaces, and blood group O is the only one, right? So it's the only one where there will be no agglutination. That's why it is a universal donor, right? So the answer is A, blood group O, right? Or blood group 1. A couple had a child with Down's disease. The mother is 42 years old. The probability, the disease is most probably caused by the following impairment of prenatal development, right? Down syndrome, we are saying like is trisomy of the 21st chromosomes, right? So this one is definitely during formation of gametes. So it's gametopathy, right? Gametopathy. So gametopathy is the answer, right? This one is just another explanation of Down syndrome, right? Down syndrome is known as trisomy 21 or Mongolism, right? And its karyotype is 47XY and 21 plus, right? Okay, so I said here the answer is gametopathy. Gametopathy. A cell at the stage of mitosis anaphase was stimulated by colchicine that inhibits chromosomal separation to the pores. What type of mutation will be caused? Right, okay, so this one is the anaphase, right? I just represented anaphase this way. So what happens is like there will be formation of spindles. The spindles will pull the daughter chromatids to opposite poles, right? And after anaphase, then there will be telophase, there will be separation, then there will be two cells like with a same number of chromosomes. But if the culture is treated with colchicine is a drug. In this case, it destroys like the spindles, right? Present formation of these spindles, so there is no pulling away of these sister chromatids. It means the cell will have like more chromosomes than normal, so it's known as a polyploid, right? So the keywords are colchicine, which attacks these spindles, and movement of chromatids to different poles, right, is another keyword which will help you, right? So this is polyploid. An alcoholic woman is born a girl with mental and physical developmental lag. Doctor diagnosed a girl with fetal alcohol syndrome. What effect is the cause for the girl's state, right? So this girl is teratogenic effect, right? I think we've come across this question before. This kind of question is teratogenic, and other things other than alcohol, there is toxoplasma. It also causes teratogenic effect, right? Okay, so that's the answer, teratogenic effect. Next question. The study of fingerprints, that's dactylography, is used in criminals for personal identification as well as for diagnostic of genetic abnormalities, particularly Down syndrome or Down's disease. What layer of skin determines the individuality of the fingerprints? Right. Okay. So this one is just the basic layer, the basic layout of the skin structure. Right. So you just need to know our skin has three layers: the epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. Right. Hypodermis is also known as the subcutaneous tissue. In the dermis is two layers: the papillary layer and the reticular layer. In the papillary layer is a specific is like the one which determines the fingerprint pattern, right? If we talk about epidermis is nothing to do with fingerprints. And epidermis, if you still remember, it is I think 5 layers, like stratum basale, stratum spinosum, stratum granulosum, stratum lucidum, and stratum corneum. That's the one layer, right? So if you check here, the basalis is a wrong answer, lucidum is a wrong answer, reticular layer is the wrong answer, one layer is the wrong answer. Dermopapillary is the only correct answer here. So it's dermopapillary layer, right? Okay, next question. Cytogenic examination of a patient with a reproductive dysfunction revealed normal karyotype 46XY in some cells, but most have karyotype of Klinefelter syndrome 47XXY. Such cell heterogeneity is called what? The Klinefelter syndrome. This one is mosaicism, right? Mosaicism. Mosaicism is the correct answer. Next question. A doctor reviewed tissue injury in patients. Okay. A doctor reviewed tissues injury on patient's scalp with localized suppurations and diagnosed the disease as myiasis, right? This infestation is caused by larvae of the following insect, right? Wolfat fly is responsible for this myiasis, right? That's the correct answer. If we talk about kissing bugs are also known as assassin bugs, and these ones, they transmit Trypanosoma cruzi. Trypanosoma cruzi is responsible for Chagas disease. Stable flies, these are common house flies, right? They don't eat tissues. They don't eat the tissues like the larva or fat fly. Malaria, mosquito, and mosquito, no, they are wrong. So fat fly is the correct answer here. Wow, we've come to the end of this presentation. Thanks so much. Thanks for watching. Please, if this is your first time, if you like this video, please make sure you subscribe, like, and leave a comment on the comment section, and also share with your friends. So in the next video, we are going to do biochemistry, right? We're going to do biochemistry, and there is a reason why I chose 2005 to 2010 for medical biology, because I checked like other questions from 2011 going forward. It's just a repetition. They just change concept, right? So for biochemistry, we are going to start from 2011 to 2015, and we are going to explain everything. So we are dissecting the crow. Thanks so much. Thanks for watching. Until next time, Paka.